Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. The program will begin in exactly 5 minutes, and we'll be right back at exactly 5:45 p.m. 5:40 p.m. So sit back, chill out, and get ready for another very insightful session.
Does your life as an online learner look awfully something like this? All study and no fun makes one a dull one. Escape boredom and burnout while learning a lot and so much more. You don't have to worry about juggling work and school. The balance in academic excellence, work, and fun is now made accessible at your fingertips. Join us as we walk you through the fun part of digital learning as we put the cool in digital school. Here at MMDC, a whole lot of fun awaits you. Activities, opportunities to meet new people, and avenues to showcase your passion, talents, and skills aplenty. Digital, I dig it all. Say goodbye to dozing off during boring and stuffy webinars, and say hello to fun and interactive e-events lined up for you. Brace yourselves for quirky challenges that you will experience with your friends and clubmates. We introduce to you our virtual escape rooms. Hunt for clues, solve mysteries, and then some. Digital, I dig it all. Need time off from your computer to stretch a little? We've got that covered too. We have wellness activities to make sure that you stay fit and healthy even with the digital setup. Digital, I dig it all. Digital learning is said to be lonely learning, but fret not, lonely no more. Here at MMDC, you'll never be or feel alone. Go join a club or create one yourself. Share and express your passion, talents, and skills. Digital, I dig it all. From clubs that will help you further improve your communication and social skills, to the ones that place focus on technical skills that will help you solve real-world cases that you will work on, or even a club that simply unleashes you in the we as we grow together as a nurturing and fun, dynamic academic community. Digital, I dig it all. Finally, get a chance to be featured in our school publication. Share about activities, events, and even your own stories in our digital community. Or be part of the proactive school publications team and get to write articles. Together, we'll deliver news and updates and more to our community. The MMDC community. Digital, I dig it all. We've talked digital, but what about face-to-face? MMDC proudly welcomes you to our Learning Hub. Experience firsthand and in person our state-of-the-art facilities that are both conducive for learning and collaboration friendly. Here, you not only solve problems, projects, and cases, but also build and create connections, collaborations, and ideas while having fun. It's all in at the Hub, only at the Learning Hub. The entire digital setup might be intimidating, but worry not. The IA or Integrated Advising Services are here to assist you for anything and everything. Got any questions or queries? We're here to answer you or direct you to the right persons. Got concerns? We're all ears. Troubleshooting? Consider it done. We're just one message away. Sounds exciting? We're excited for you too. We can't wait to be part of your college journey. See you virtually and in our learning hubs.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to What's Next Wednesdays, where we'll be talking about the latest developments in college, business, and technology. I'm Danny. I'm MBC's Marketing and Partnerships Officer, and as always, I will be your host for the day. Before we begin, we'll be flashing on screen some house rules for our session this afternoon. So, this event will be recorded and is being published live on our Facebook and YouTube pages. At any time during the event, feel free to type your questions in the chat box or the comment section if you're watching our live, and visit our social media pages for our answers. For those of you on Zoom, your microphone is automatically muted when you enter the room. But if you want to ask questions during our Q&A segment, just click the raise hand button and our moderator will be the one to unmute you. So you can follow us on our social media pages, by the way, if you want to get updated and or watch this live at Mapua Malayan Digital. So again, this is live on Facebook and YouTube right now. So in our last episode, we talked about the fun side of learning and how we here at MMDC aim to create fruitful experiences for our students through extracurricular activities. For those of you who missed it, you can always visit our pages so you can watch the discussion. But for this afternoon session, we'll be focusing on something else. And we invite you all to join us as we celebrate the strength, the grit, and the determination of women, especially in tech and business. Our guest for this evening has 2 decades of experience in dynamic industries such as telecommunications, broadband, tech, media, and data. She has built brands and companies that have grown exponentially through agile pivots using content, data intelligence, ad tech, martech, and community strategies. At present, she is entrepreneur in residence and heads ideation, continuing to create innovations across different ventures, and is definitely one of the best examples of an empowered woman in business and tech. Here to talk about breaking the corporate glass ceiling, please welcome our guest, none other than Miss Carla Yap-Sy Su. So, hi, Miss Carla. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, Danny. Thank you so much for having me. Really excited to have this chat.
And we're really excited to have you here also. It's such an honor to have you here as we discuss breaking the glass ceiling for our Women's Month episode. So we'll get straight to the point, Miss Carla. So first and foremost, we would like to get to know you a little bit more. So my first question would be, how did your corporate journey progress towards business and technology over the years?
So thanks for that question. This is a bit of a history lesson. How it progressed, I actually started like how you introduced me, no, in a very exciting, dynamic industry, which is telco. And I was actually there at the height of its growth. And it was an exciting space. That's where I learned how to innovate, how to discover new solutions, how it's really, really beneficial for our customers. And I was able to apply marketing and business within that space. From there, I ventured into the growth of digital and joined a digital media company. And from there, also built out new solutions, new ways to communicate and engage with different customers and audiences, and fell in love with really the power of the narrative and being able to craft stories and campaigns and content. Found my way to another stage of my career, which is then how do I apply all of the learnings I've had in content, community, and now in the field of data. And where data is really about understanding patterns, deriving new, better, deeper insights about customers. And today, I use all of that, like all of the learnings I've had in this journey, to really apply it to now building new types of ventures that help to uplift lives of Filipinos under 917 Ventures. So it's been an exciting ride so far, and really looking forward to continue to grow.
Did you always know that you'd be specializing in entrepreneurship, marketing, and technology, even back when you were in college or even in your younger years?
No, actually, if I really didn't realize that that's going to be my journey, the way that I described it, right? Na it's marketing, then media, and then data, and then now into entrepreneurship. But
Mhm.
what had me attracted to the field, though, is even when I was a child, I was always very curious. I
Mhm.
always loved reading stories, figuring out puzzles, and all that. And I think it's that innate curiosity that then got me into the field of marketing.
Mhm.
And within that space, I was able to learn more about content, trends, customer behavior, all of these new types of innovations and technology. And it really just continues from there, right? It's a journey of self-discovery. For
Mhm.
as long as you start your journey, you discover more about yourself, you discover more things you want to learn more about.
Mhm.
And that's how it went for me. I started with marketing, but ended up expanding that into different areas and spaces.
Mhm. Yeah, and it actually also reflects how we've changed over the years, right? Because nowadays we're seeing more influential women in the tech and business scenes. So we have the likes of Canva CEO, Melanie Perkins, Angeline Tham, who founded Angkas, Abby Victorino of Style Genie Asia, and of course yourself, right? So as one of the women that started working in what are normally seen as male dominated industries. What was it like when you were starting out versus how things are being run now? How versus how operations goes on now?
So it's really amazing to see all of these different women leaders, right? Forging their own paths because it also then opens up new opportunities for a lot more women.
Mhm.
Um, I'm really a big believer that empowered women empower women, and then to see these success stories from women and all of understanding their journey as well. It's never really an easy one, no. And learning from that and getting inspired by it is something that we live by and live through day by day. So how is it? I guess then versus now. A lot more opportunity today, a lot more accessibility today.
Mhm.
In fact, there's so much that, as women, we can aspire for.
Mhm.
And it's also up to us to really make the most of it, like maximize all of these opportunities that come our way.
Mhm.
Previously, opportunities may be kind of, more difficult to come across. So now, whether it's because of the rise of technology, or second, because there's even more and more proof that women have been so successful in different arenas and areas that there's more clamor for what else women can do. So
Mhm.
there's a lot of excitement talaga in the air for that.
Mhm. Actually, when I was reading through some articles a few weeks ago, I saw one that was published by the iGEM community. And they worked with STEM Plus PH of the Unilab Foundation and reported that here in the Philippines, around 49% of the STEM workforce is actually composed of women, but they're mostly in the field of medicine, in the field of biology. And there's also been, of course, a rising number of Filipina and entrepreneurs, right, that have been recognized over the years, especially with the influx of social media, with the easier ways of finding influencers within those crafts. So, how do you think society as a whole can empower women further so that they're encouraged to take on jobs in technology and to be in the field of business?
So I think first is really educating women, even at a young age, what they could become. So it also starts with how we build up what a woman can be, or the professions that women can naturally fit into or should aspire to be in. I say this because I have three amazing daughters. And when I take a look at, their textbooks or study materials, it's still very traditional, ha. Parang ganun pa rin, firemen. So it's really, I think it's high time that we update what professions are available for both men and women, and more so women, right? There's a lot of new opportunities that are out there that even as young children, they have to realize na pwede pala yun, no? Or yan yung gusto ko.
Mm-mm.
Because it also lets them realize at a young age that there could be a path that they take, and
Mm-mm.
that it's not just an opportunity, it's actually a reality that they can aspire to
Mm-mm.
become. Second is to then break down the stereotypes in terms of profession. So
Mm-mm.
going back again to what's in the textbooks, it's very gender specific. You'll see that there are certain roles na yan, it's for the boys versus the roles that are for the girls.
Mm-mm.
And very important then that we then make it gender agnostic, right? Professions, skills, even, but ultimately roles can be
Mm-mm.
gender agnostic. And it really is dependent on what you're passionate about, what your skills are, what you'd want to learn more about, and where you can create more impact on. So it's really then breaking down the stereotypes. And that has to start with our own conversations
Yeah.
within our family, within our peers, within our support systems. And then lastly, maybe normalizing it.
Mm-hmm.
Kasi sometimes in STEM, it's intimidating, right? Na kaya ko ba yan? Baka pang genius lang yan. Or, um, people may be super worried about it na di ako magaling mag-math eh. Or parang takot ako sa numbers eh. Things like that, right? But to then normalize STEM as a way for you to actually exercise your curiosity. If you love building things, right, then this is the path for you. If you'd want to apply your creativity in identifying patterns or connecting the dots with numbers, then this is the path for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So making it less intimidating, more relatable.
Yeah.
And that's also through the power of content, I think, and a lot of what we read, what we watch.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are the three main things that I think could really shift the narrative towards making STEM more accessible, breaking down stereotypes, and making women realize that there's so much more out there for them.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with all 3 points because right now, you see, I was also teaching in STEM for a senior high school here in the city, and there were actually more and more women getting into STEM as opposed to guys in the classroom, which also
That's
shows
great.
that, yeah, that's great, right? That's a great change to initially or traditionally how it was envisioned. So we've been seeing a lot of inspiring women these days, women that speak up and women that try to lead in their own rights in their respective industries. And that's something that's really important to us. And the core of the matter actually for today's episode is breaking the glass ceiling. So the glass ceiling for our viewers out there is a term that refers to the social barriers or the limitations that prevent women and other workplace minorities from being promoted to top jobs in management. So, Miss Carla, do you know of anybody that pushed the boundaries that the glass ceiling posed for them? And who are the women that inspire you most in this sense?
Definitely a lot. You've mentioned some of them earlier. There's a lot more women founders as well, especially within the startup scene,
Yes.
and a lot more women in leadership positions, so especially within the region, and most especially here in the Philippines, especially like
Mhm.
within Globe.
Mhm.
Um, our leadership team is comprised of women as well.
Mhm.
And it's great to see that in action.
Mhm.
So definitely, it's also the women around you, right? My daughters, as I mentioned, inspire me every day
Mhm.
because in their the way that they are able to assess complex things in the most simplistic way,
Mhm.
remind me to keep going every day. And how I prove my value is also a way for me to show them that they're valued, right?
Yeah.
That they're going to create even more value as they grow up. Other women, of course, are mentors. The women I've had the fortune and great opportunity to be trained under across different fields, and icons, like cultural icons, those that we've been able to learn from,
Mm-hmm.
are really what drives or influences us. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot, too many to mention.
Yeah.
And I think what's a good way to kind of see it again in reality is, um, read, search about women leaders, because I can't pinpoint one specific one, because I think every woman who's in a position to provide impact and create change, no, has a different and special trait about her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's so much inspiration out there, and it's a matter of really discovering it for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely, Miss Carla. Actually, to share with our audience also, I guess the first woman that really made an impact on me outside of my community would be Gabriela Silang. I'm pretty sure most of our viewers are familiar with her because it
I can
was,
relate.
yeah,
Super, super can relate.
right? Because it was such a foreign concept back when I was a kid that women can fight in wars. Of course, there was Mulan, of course, back when we were watching movies, cartoons. But really, Gabriela Silang was something more local, somebody that was more impactful in the sense that she's a Filipina, she's somebody that's part of a community I belong to. She's like me. She looks like me. Those types of things are really making a difference, and I hope that at present our younger women also have people like those that positively affect their viewpoints in life. But
Yeah,
Miss
and I
Carmen,
think that's
yeah.
really important, just to add that,
Mhm.
find a woman who will inspire you that you can relate to. Because
Yeah,
sometimes we look so far ahead or so far out there,
yeah,
without realizing that the women around us are the ones that are, right, most inspiring. And whether
mhm,
it's your mom, it's your peers,
yeah.
there's something to be found in all the women that you come across with.
Yeah, and that's really the beauty of the women empowerment movement because we have started to appreciate these more, right? These qualities more. But Miss Carla, personally, what's one situation or moment in your career where you experienced the barriers of the glass ceiling, and how did you fight against it?
In terms of, sorry, Danny, can you repeat that last question? I think I got cut a bit.
Okay, no worries. So the question was, what's one situation or moment in your career that you experienced the barriers of the glass ceiling, and how did you fight against it? How did you
Okay.
battle that barrier?
So, in many times in my career, I've encountered being the only woman in the room, being
Mhm,
the only woman in as part of the project. And I grew up in a very male-dominated industry. Actually, a
mhm,
lot of us would can relate to that, right? Our first foray into the working space, or yung first professional experience natin could have started out as male-dominated. That's already a given. How
mhm,
I battled it, or how I fought against it, really was to prove my worth, right?
mhm,
First, know why you're in that room in the first place. If you find yourself being the only woman in the room, know why you're in there, know what value you bring to the
mhm,
conversation, and make sure that you're able to prove that value. How?
mhm,
Work hard. Second, speak up, right?
mhm,
And it can be in the form of ask a question. There's no harm in asking a question or a clarification, right? Go inside that room prepared. So
mhm,
if you need to provide input, provide an opinion or comment, then you'll be more confident to do that.
mhm,
So that, I think, is at least for me, is one way to, I wouldn't say fight against it, right? But it's more of, how do I ensure that I get to adapt well
mhm.
in that environment?
Yeah.
Because it is what it is, right? You have,
Yeah.
like, as women, sometimes or more often than not, we don't have control over certain structures that are already in place. But we
Yeah.
do have control over the kind of value we bring, the kind
Mm.
of hard work and persistence. Di ba? Iba rin yung resilience ng babae.
Yes. Oo.
So,
Mm.
yun ang what we bring there. We can't be limited by the fact that we may always think na babae lang ako.
Mm.
Never have that thought process as you're in that room. So it
Mhm.
really is about perseverance and proving your worth, building trust.
Mhm. Yeah, definitely. And I guess it also reflects how there are still some spaces that are following the traditional route, right? That don't see how women can work together with men. It's more of how men can do better lang or alone. But I guess there are also historically some accounts of how this narrative has changed, right? Like as early as the time of the Huns, they already regarded women as people that are of higher positions in society, and even in our traditional Filipino setting, there are also women that have made an impact. We used to have our priestesses. We used to have women that were in leadership positions, in chieftain positions during those times. But how important is women's empowerment in the present, especially in today's corporate environment? How would you um how do you what do you think about how its importance?
It's extremely important.
Mhm.
Um, Actually, having women in business environments is very critical also in pushing for the growth of the business. No,
Mm.
um, women allow for new perspectives. That's one.
Mhm.
Second is it also shows inclusivity, that we're able to respect every teammate or worker, regardless of gender, and more so because of their gender, right? As women as well.
Mhm.
And then lastly, it also showcases the ability to provide culture and mentorship, especially from the perspective of women also. Um, and it is really about being a part of, or having women a part of that community.
Mhm.
And it will ensure further growth.
Mhm. Definitely. And I do agree with that, Miss Carla. And well, we've been talking about women in management, women in leadership positions, right? But what skills do you think women possess that enable them to be good leaders and game changers?
First, persistence, for
Mhm.
sure. Iba ang grit, I think, ng babae.
Mhm.
Uh, the kind of resourcefulness that women also have, yung talagang hahanapan ng paraan. So I think that's a second trait, diskarte,
Mhm.
is quite important, and also part of how women again provide value, no. And third, maybe we're natural multitaskers, kahit na kahit na hindi natin aminin, we
Mhm.
are hardwired to be multitaskers. We are able to juggle so many things at the same time, whether it's different roles, and we have that, right?
Yeah.
Different projects, different initiatives. I think that those are the skills really that women intrinsically would have.
Mhm. Yeah, I do agree with that, especially when it comes to grit, because there are also very empowered women in my life that also push the boundaries between those stereotypes. And I've also seen how women have made a very big impact on their respective fields because of their grit, right? And this is really a really broad spectrum, because we have women that can code nowadays. We have women that teach gender subjects. We have women that are really natural born leaders. And I think grit is really part of how they've built themselves up to those positions.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's hard to women will not take no for
Mm-hmm.
an
For an
answer.
answer.
Especially in certain situations, you would see women push harder, strive
Mm-hmm.
more,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how we're wired, or that's also how we know we need to get to that next stage. And that's also who we are, and that's what makes us amazing.
Yeah, and typically I think it's also part of how we've been wired because of the glass ceiling. Right? These limitations have also inspired us to do more as women. So, Miss Carla, we're actually down to our last two questions for the evening. And I think you can answer this very well based on your own personal experiences, based on the people that you know, your interactions with other women in the corporate scene. So, the second to the last question is actually, can you give us tips on how we can empower other women, especially the younger generations?
I think the first step is to realize that we're on a journey to learn,
Mhm,
right? It's a journey. It's
mhm,
not, success doesn't happen overnight.
mhm,
Achievements will not happen overnight. There will be bad days versus good days, and that's part of the learning process.
mhm,
So it's that realizing that it's a journey of learning, trust the process, and then along the way, continue to build yourself up.
mhm,
Second is, because it's a journey, keep going.
mhm,
And the way that you build muscle or build your strength is
mhm,
learn, right? Read, talk to people, um, find opportunities that work for you.
mhm,
Again, sometimes hindi siya madali. But just keep trying, just keep going. And you'll realize that at a certain point, you'll
mhm,
find a good fit. And then lastly, I would say is find your voice, right?
mhm,
Build out that voice, make it stronger,
mhm,
build your own opinion. And the way that you should be able to continue to do that is really just by practice, right? Continue to
mhm.
be curious, build your muscle, find your voice.
Definitely. I do agree with that, Miss Carla. And I guess for our younger generations also, it's important that they listen to their hearts, listen to their minds, and that they stick to what they know best. Because if you build up your areas of specialization, there's really no losing point, right? You can do anything as long as you really set your mind to it. And I guess that's something that's very important for our kids these days, our teens these days. And it's also important, I guess, for me or for households in general that we build these women up, we build these young girls up, that they won't be limited to um just cooking in the household. They won't be limited to fulfilling their tasks as wives, as mothers alone. So we really have to build up the mindset that women can be, or these kids can be, anything that they really want to be, right? Mm-hmm.
Definitely agree. So just going back to what I shared about educating our women at a very young age, no, making them expose and realize that there's so much out there for them to either learn about,
Mm-hmm.
grab as their own opportunities, or realize that this could be me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes kasi we're so limited by our own bubble, or yung hanggang san lang yung nakikita natin. So we also limit ourselves in that way. So for us to then be able to empower, encourage our young women to know that there is more.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we're wired to want to be more. We're wired to want to do more. So it is also up to us to encourage each other and to have our communities of women. And I wouldn't say it's just limited to women, right? It's also embracing the whole community of men who are there to support women. It's all of
Mm.
the support systems out there that can make us realize that there is so much that we can become. And
Mm.
I think at this stage in our life, it's also us inspiring the younger generations ourselves by
Mhm.
being proof that women can be all that she can, attain to
Yeah.
be or to want to be. So we have to be living proof of what a woman could become.
Yeah, definitely. I do agree with that, Miss Carla. And I also agree with the point that you made that it's not just a woman's job to empower other women. It's everybody surrounding these women. It's the men, it's the fathers, it's the brothers, the classmates, the male workmates. It's literally a job that the community must do in order to make sure that these kids, these younger women are going to build themselves up to be who they're really meant to be, right? And so, Miss Carla, our last question: what message do you have for our students and, of course, your fellow women who are working towards this personal empowerment?
So, number one is again, keep going. Empowerment is a journey. It is actually a roller coaster. There are going to be more bad days and good days. There's going to be more lows and highs. But ultimately, the choice is about us
Mhm.
choosing to go down this path, powering through, and
Mhm.
making sure that we also create opportunities for ourselves. As women, we owe ourselves that. We
Mhm.
also need to be that living proof of success for younger generations. Find your
Mhm.
support system because it's also going to be amazing to to empower women alongside your journey, right? So overall, I think the journey is going to be worth it. So just continue to keep going and you will definitely reach the height of your success as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Miss Carla, for gracing us with your time and wisdom. This has honestly been a very insightful discussion, and I hope the ladies watching this feel more encouraged to step out of the status quo, to go beyond the limits, and be their best, most authentic, and empowered selves. So, again, thank you so much, Miss Carla, for joining us this evening. We really do appreciate that you've been able to spend time with us. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you as well. It's been a great discussion.
Thank you so much, Miss Carla. And I guess that's all the time we have for this episode. So thank you everyone for tuning into What's Next Wednesdays, MMDC's official live podcast. So if any of you here want to learn more about our IT courses and our offerings in business administration, please send us an email at admissions@mmdc.mcl.edu.ph, or you can also visit our website www.mmdc.mcl.edu.ph for more information. So it's officially time for us to pop out and bid you all goodbye for now. We'll be taking a short break from our live podcast in the weeks to come, so please do expect that you'll be able to catch reruns of our previous episodes and snippets on our social media accounts. With that, we hope to see you soon, and we can't wait till our next Wednesday.